Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Oh my goodness. So I had taken a week off from doing a YouTube video. And by the time this one comes out, it'll been 2 weeks since I have put out a video. So I had a little break, which was very nice and needed just in general. I had some company here from out of town, and I really wanted to be able to spend time with them and not have to worry about too much else. So I just got to live in the moment and be with them. And we did a ton of stuff. We went fishing and we had a barbecue and we went to the water park and we went for walks and just hung out at the beach and golfed. So we jammed it in here over the week while they were here. So it was really wonderful and exciting. I didn't get to paint even a little bit because I was working in between all of this stuff. So unfortunately, I didn't even bust out the paints one time. They were sitting out and it didn't happen. I thought I would be getting some shorts done and just that kind of stuff. But I just took the week off from everything. I wasn't beading, I wasn't painting, I wasn't doing anything. So now I'm feeling ready to get back in, but I feel that I'm feeling like a little kind of rusty almost, like where do I start? What do I do? So anyhow, I am feeling a little bit scattered today. Where do I begin? It's kind of crazy to take time off when you've been in such a rhythm of recording a YouTube video every single week. So bear with me, you guys. So across the street from where my hair salon is, my friend used to live in this place, and she had planted some of hollyhock seeds that I had given her from ones that I had been growing. And so they have been blooming beautifully this summer. And so it's inspired me for this tutorial that we're going to do today. It's going to be some very loose hollyhocks. We're going to use the Stone Ground Paint Company little paint pan set, the Night Garden ones that I have received or that I bought. I absolutely love them so much, and I will be getting more Stone Ground paints for sure because the paint quality is gorgeous. So we're gonna do that. I've got my trusty paintbrushes. Always gonna use my number 8 Aqua Elite Princeton long round brush. I've got my number 1 script. My number 1 script brush in here, and I also have my 10-0 as well as the Faber-Castell black archival ink pen, the .1. So I've got that as well. I'm going to be using those, and then I am still just finishing up using the Canson watercolor paper. No, is that what it was? Big pad of it I cut up into small pieces. I'm going to use the Speedball gold calligraphy ink as well in this video. So get whatever supplies you need. I have done a little sketch here before we get started. I'm thinking I want to do some soft peach tones, green obviously, but maybe a bit muted, as well as maybe some browns in this. Like, we're kind of creeping into fall a little bit here. We are middle of August, so we are still summer, but I'm starting to feel the fall come around. So today, when this video is going to be put out, it is actually my birthday, which is August 18th, which always feels to me a bit fall-like. Like we're kind of wrapping down summer, and that's just kind of what I'm feeling a bit inspired by right now. So we're going to work with that. There's some beautiful colors on this Stone Ground paint pan set here, and I think that it'll make some beautiful colors, but we are going to need to mix them. So I also do have this ceramic mixing tray, which I've used the Stone Ground paints in this one, so that's already what's mixed in there. And yeah, other than that, I've got all my supplies ready to go here, you guys. So get everything ready, get prepared, and let's get doing this tutorial. I'm excited to get painting here, you guys. It's weird to take time off. I'm not sure that I like that very much. I mean, I enjoyed my time, but I think I should have been doing a little bit of painting in there. So here's my Stone Ground paints, and here's a little bit of brownie green color in there. So I'm gonna mix it in there to kind of mute down that orange a bit. So I love mixing color together. You don't need to, but it's one of the things that I absolutely love. And if you want to understand more about it, there's a lot of really great tutorials about color theory out there that will help you immensely learn how to play with color and mix it and the whole color wheel and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm always forever mixing paint. I just love it. So I'm going to do the background, which is going to have some green leaves and just some green in the background. So what I'm going to do to start this whole entire tutorial off with is take some of this Hooker's green, which is in the palette here, and I'm going to mix that with a little bit of the gamboge. I've got some going on here a little bit, so already. So I'm going to mix a little bit of that yellow in there to kind of get it a bit, just to get it a bit brighter, we'll say. We'll get that a bit brighter, but we're going to dilute it a lot. And we're just going to kind of go around in the background and put down a little bit of that in there. So we're not necessarily going to do the dot technique. I mean, you can, but I just kind of, oh, that's a lot of color. I really want it to be quite light. We're just getting a little bit of color going on in the background, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It can be in those leaves that have been drawn out. I just want a little bit of something in the background this time. We're going to be putting leaves in there, but so we're just going to go, you can do wet on wet or wet on dry, whatever you want. You can dump some water down. So wet on wet is what you'll do if you take water and do a wash. Wet on dry is if you do paint on your dry paper, which is kind of what we're doing because there's just paint in my paintbrush. So I'm just going around and doing a bit of a light wash there in throughout here, and then just to get some color going on. And it doesn't need to be everywhere. I like the idea of having white in the background as well. So this is another mixed green that I have on my palette, which is a mix of Hooker green and the Parisian blue to make it just a bit more, have a bit more depth. So I'm going to go in there and get my brush really, really wet and get some of that paint on. And I'm just going to go and kind of dot around in the center here, because there's going to be a lot of green, and we are going to have some more definition in these petals, but I just want to start by having a little bit of green in the background to start our painting off. It doesn't need to be dark. You got to be so careful, because if you are so dark and you get, it's hard to come back from that. So you just want to be really quite subtle back there. You can always add more paint, but once you've got it really, really intense in there, it's really hard to change that. So start with less, but I'm okay with having quite a bit here in the center, because it's just condensed in the center. Like there'll be a lot of, that's where everything kind of comes together. So I'm okay with having that in there, but as the painting moves outwards, I'm lightening it up so that it's not so bold. Okay, so that looks great for what that is there, what I want it to be. I'm just going to leave that. That's basically the start of the background. So there's a couple of ways of going about that, which I said, which is wet on wet, which is wet your paper first, add some paint on top, or wet on dry, which is kind of what I did because I had color on my brush, which is basically dry paper, wet brush with your paint on it. So we're going to let that totally dry up, and then we're going to start working on our background, which is our leaves back here. And then we have a couple buds. We're going to just work on some of that, and then we'll get into the flowers. So let it dry up, and then we'll get on to the rest. Okay, we're going to get going on these background leaves. So I have a few of them drawn out, which I'm going to do line work around, but you can go and add as much as you want in the background. Some of it I'm going to leave without line work in it. So you will see as we go through the tutorial how that's going to look. But we can use the dot technique, which I have used in previous tutorials. So I'm getting a lot of paint on my brush, lots of water, and we'll start over on this far side. So we already have a nice background in there with that light green that we used. So I'm going to put down some of that green that I have mixed up, maybe just some straight up Hooker's green, and maybe we'll use a little dot of the Parisian blue. Oops. Get your brush cleaned off, wet though, and again, just as we do. Oh yeah, that's cute. Very, very beautiful colors there. So we're not going to work on the petal or the leaf right beside it because it's still wet. We don't want them all to blend together too much. So we'll go down below here. Put a couple dots of that mixed green that I have in my palette. Oh, this is kind of strange. Okay, there we go. Put down a little bit of the Prussian blue. Some of that hooker's green. Oh, I got that flying over there. Got a little color over here, so I'm just going to go dab it up. It's okay if there's color behind it. It's not the end of the world. This is pretty whimsical. Clean off your brush again. Tap it a few times. Make sure it's got lots of water on it. That one looks beautiful. Full disclaimer, you guys, my cat goes outside on a leash and I leave him outside Tex when I'm doing these tutorials. And lately there have been coyotes in our neighborhood. And so I've been keeping him very close to home. But anyways, I just thought I heard him meowing. So I quickly ran out there. But it wasn't him. He was hanging out with the neighbor cat. So he's all good. Anyway, let's get on to this leaf down here. I'm putting down that hooker's. And hooker's green and a little bit of the light bright green. Clean off your brush again, lots of water. So the nice thing with these dots is that, and doing the leaves, is that you can really play around and do a lot of different color techniques because of course the light would be hitting it very differently and all that good stuff. So you can do whatever you want. Doesn't even need to stay totally in the lines. You can have some fun with the color and the shapes. And even playing around just so back in here, well, we don't have one drawn in, but say we want to just kind of put a little something down there. You can do that. Just a hint of a shape of a leaf in the background, right? Like, doesn't need to be exactly that. You know, we can kind of do a little something back here too and just play around with the color and the background. It's going to have a little bit of background on this one. So we'll go up top here and work. Maybe I should have done that first because now I'm going to have my hand in this, but that's okay. We're going to go up here and work on some of these leaves coming up. Again, let's go from the top down. Yeah, let's go from the top down. So a little bright green and the hooker's green and just, yeah, so go through these leaves and play around. Have some fun with them. As you go along. It doesn't, like, this process doesn't really need to take a long time. You can kind of go and dab them in. I love that. That looks really great. And mix and play with your green as you go along. That will help give you some dimension in your entire composition. And yeah, go along with it. And they don't need to all look the same. In fact, the more different they look, I think the better that they look. More colors that are in there. But I mean, of course, you don't want it to get too carried away where you have so many colors going on. It just looks like a blob of, like, or a mess. You know, you don't want it to be too crazy. So, yeah. Whoopsie daisy. Sorry, guys. I bumped us a little bit. Excellent. I'm really loving the leaves and stuff here. I think they just look great. So just going around and throwing in some little shapes here, there, and everywhere and filling in some of that background. Some line work, because obviously our flowers are going to come to a point here. I think that looks wonderful. So we have some buds here in the background. And I'm going to drop down some color in those oopsies first. So we're going to do the peachy color. We'll probably add in some pink in there. So I'm going to do these buds. Peachy orange, which is using the Pazzoli or Pazzuli earth. Some of it mixed to make the peachy color. And then some of that gamboge to brighten up the tip of it. Clean your brush. It's a little wet. Like so. If you want to go in and add a little bit more brightness in there because it kind of got too blendy, you can go add in whatever you want to add in there. So this one again with that earth at the bottom. And then, woo! Beauty. I'll go add a little bit more of that yellow in there. Those are pretty. So we did the bud first because we're going to put the green, the greenery on it after. So we'll let those totally dry up. We can work on this last leaf here. We'll do this one a bit brighter. So we're going to mix up that hooker's green with some of that gamboge yellow. Going to do 3 dots of that and a dot of the hooker's green up at the top. Clean off your brush really good. Have lots of water on it. We're pushing down to the side. You can see how much of my brush is being used, and then I'm lifting it up when it's coming to that tip. Going around, adding in some lines. All good. That looks great. So with the color that I have on the tip of my brush, you can go and you can just push your brush down and lift it up, and you can get that shape of a leaf. You know, and that's just going to add in a little bit more fun coming out the back. Here I've got a little bit of the mixed green and then the mixed greens on the tip of my brush together. And we're just going down and dropping a few background leaves in there. Like, just why not? With whatever's on your brush, so it's very subtle. Excellent. So our background leaves are done. We're moving on to our flowers. So I do want to keep them, you know, in the pink, magenta, and the Pazzuli earth colors, peach, you know, kind of in this realm, but more on the peach side. So I'm using that in my tray, as you can see. So we're going to work from this flower over. We're going to do our dots. In the center of a hollyhock, they are quite yellow because they have this beautiful stamen coming out the middle. Some of the insides can be different color, but the stamen is usually this nice long yellow with the pollen on it. So I'm going to put some yellow in the middle there, and then some of that peach color on the edges. Now just remember, you don't have to fill in every single space. And we're going to put in that Pazzuli earth. You can leave out some white negative space there. And you can go in and get your brush clean. Remember, we're going to clean it off in between every kind of pass over. So that one looks good. Clean it off, clean it off, clean it off. Go into our next one here. Perfect. You know, they're pooling up a little bit. We want these to be beautiful and light. We don't want them to overtake. Just like so. So in between every single petal or every pass through we're going to do, you're cleaning off that brush. So it's not going to get too muddy. You're still going to see those beautiful peach colors in there without them getting too mixed in. And then you still have that yellow in the center, which is beautiful. And so we're on our last one here. And we're going to push down and use a lot of that brush. As you can see, I've left quite a bit of you know, white space in there. And I'm just going to go dot in that middle to have it just a bit brighter. I think that one looks absolutely gorgeous. That's the color that I wanted. Absolutely. So we're going on to the next one here. We're going to do the same thing. You know, I want to keep these flowers looking very similar. And in fact, I didn't even use any of the magenta because I think it would just be a bit overpowering. Like this one looks really beautiful, so I'm sticking with it. So we've got our yellow in the center. Then we're going to do the outer edges with that lighter peach color. And then the darker Pazuli Earth Red. Clean off your brush really well. And the same thing, you guys, just same as we did on the last one. Clean off in between every single petal. You know, the more organic you can kind of do your shapes, the more interesting those flowers will look, right? Like the colors will look. It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of nice to see what you can come up with the different colors where the dots are placed and where you pull the water and all that good stuff. I love how, you know, you can see truly how the colors can really bloom and work together. And here I've added more yellow to the center and it's blooming into the petals, but that's okay. I like that. It gives that really organic feel to it. We're going to work on our last one down here. Same as we've been doing, you guys. Whoa. I've just got water flying everywhere. Perfect. And the same way that I've been doing all of them. So I'm doing the yellow in the center, Pazuli, red closer to it, and then on the outside that light peach color. Again, cleaning off our brush, having lots of water on it. Really manipulating that brush to get the paint and the water to move around. So go on this one over here beside it. We're going on this one. Remembering the key here is to continually be cleaning your brush off. It's a pretty important part of what we do when we do the dots. So, oh, that's pretty, you guys. I think that's gorgeous. So the last little detail we want to do here is we want to put in the greenery on these buds. So I'm just taking some of that mixed darker green and I'm not doing the dot technique, I'm just throwing it on there. And let that be so. If it blooms a bit, that's totally cool. So we're going to let this dry up and then we are going to get out our Faber-Castell black pen. We're going to do our pen work next, and we're just going to do ever so lightly because I quite like how this looks as is, but I would like a little bit of line work in there. But I don't think I'm going to do it on every single flower, every single leaf. I think we're going to just play around with a little less line work on this. Here we are. So as I said, I'm not going to do the line work on every single leaf and every single flower. So we're going to try something different, you guys. So let's just start off with over here. I'm feeling compelled to start over here with this leaf. Again, lightly. Doesn't need to be a whole big bunch. I'm going to do this one beside it. Awesome. I think those look good. Let's move on up here. I'm just going to be playing around as we go with this one. So bear with me because I didn't do a trial one before I started this. So I'm just playing around. If I don't like it, I may end up filling in some more line work, but I really kind of want to I don't know, I'm feeling a little softer in the painting world at this present moment, so I don't want to overdo the line work. So I'm just going to take it gently around. This Faber-Castell pen is really beautiful. It'd be maybe nice if I can get even a finer tip, but this is fine. Yeah, I'm thinking that's good. Just adding, not adding line on everything, just a little bit of something around here. Just adds a little bit of softness to the painting as opposed to it being so bold, but still has a little bit of line work in there, which I just can't seem to quite get away from it. But eventually I think I'm going to practice a little bit more. So let's head over to this flower here. What do we want to do? Yeah, let's go over here. So that's why sketching out the painting works, or the picture works nice, is because it gives us, place to work from and some guidelines so we can keep the painting looking a little bit structured, but not too crazy. Just a bit structured. I like how that looks. I think it might feel weird if I don't do the flowers, because if I do this one, then that'll be weird down here. So I think I might do a little bit around the flower, each flower, but I like how the background is looking right now. So I'm not gonna, each flower, but I like how the background is looking right now. So I'm not gonna mess around with too much more in the background. Yeah, that looks great. So again, as I always say, if there's a part of the painting you don't like or you're just happy with where it's at, stop there. This is your painting, though you're following a tutorial, it still is your art. So whatever feels good to you, do. And then if something feels too much, don't do that. Like if you're feeling like you don't like any line work, well then don't do any line work. Yeah, I think that looks good, you guys. I'm not even going to add, I'm going to leave that bud looking that way. I'm not even going to add in any more. I think that looks good. I'm happy. I think, less is more right now. I like how I just like where this is at. So now we can get out the gold speedball ink. Shake it up really good. So this is where I've been inspired to do this originally. So I had these hollyhocks out at the farm. And I remember one day walking up to the hollyhocks and there was a bee just buried deep in the hollyhock. And there was just pollen everywhere. And so that's where the inspiration for the splatter came from, because I really thought it was so cute and pretty that there was this bee, and the bee was covered in pollen as well. And then so was the inside of the flower. I probably even have a photo of it somewhere if I got digging deep into my photos. And so that's what I loved that. And that's where the inspiration came from for the splatter all around. So I'm just going to splatter in the center of these flowers and just very lightly as we go out. So load up your brush and you want to go heavy on the inside of the flower and then let it soften as you move outward to the rest of the painting. So there's not tons of splatter on everything, but quite a bit in the center of these hollyhocks. Oh, I think that looks so pretty, you guys. I love that. Okay. I'm going to sign my name on this. Date, the year. And that is that. Like, how pretty is that one? I absolutely love it. I think that turned out gorgeous. I'm going to take off the tape here because I love seeing what it looks like once it's all done. But yeah, so that's just another example of how you can play around with line work and background and all that good stuff and just come up with such a beautiful painting. So I have to admit to you guys, this felt so good to do, felt so good to, whoopsie daisy, dropping my stuff. Just felt really good to try something a little bit different than what I had been up to. Right, got gold everywhere. It feels nice to be back with the paintbrush in my hand and everything looking very painted. But yeah, I think that's lovely and it's soft and it kind of feels a bit feminine and organic. And anyways, it's got a lot of feeling going on in there and I'm loving it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Well, you guys, that is going to wrap it up for that tutorial. And am I ever happy with how that turned out? I love that so very much. Anyways, you guys, if you like the tutorial, be sure to let me know, comment, all that good stuff. Let me know if there's anything you didn't like, all of that. Yeah, thank you so much for being patient while I took a little bit of a break and had a little summer fun and all that good stuff. I have to admit though, I definitely did miss the routine of painting and it's become such a part of my life over the last year and a half that it felt a little weird to not paint and to not be making a YouTube video for you guys. So I'm not sure how things are going to look once I get going to school, but it is a priority to make sure that I continue to do these tutorials for you guys because not only am I doing them for you, but I'm doing them for myself. And I realize that by taking some time off that even though sometimes it feels, a bit forced, when I get doing the tutorial, it really brings me back to what I absolutely love. So it's important for me to continue to do them as well because it really grounds me. It brings me back to, kind of what I love and into this space and takes my mind off of everything else. So thank you so much for the patience. I promise I'm going to try my hardest to not or to stick with doing them every week because it seems to work for me and it's really helpful for me as well. So thank you for watching and for being here. For those of you that are new, thank you for showing up. And for those of you that are already subscribed, thank you for being a part of this journey with me. It is wonderful. And I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. So I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial. Have a wonderful day and we'll talk to you guys then.